There are games that can physically scare the crap out of you, and then there are those games that take you apart mentally. But rarely is a game spoopy enough to hit on both of those different types of fear. But Soma, a horror game developed by horror veterans Frictional Games, does just that. Soma uses the extensive experience that Frictional Games picked up while developing games like Amnesia and Penumbra to create a game that is both pants-shittingly terrifying and brain-shittingly disturbing.
I need it. Why?
In Soma, you take on the role of Simon, a man who mysteriously wakes up in an underwater horror facility one day and has to find his way out. Through this, there are a lot of twists and turns, and really I don't want to get into too many details of the plot, because the plot in this game is what makes it. The events of the game bring up a lot of really interesting questions that are both philosophically and existentially terrifying to think about. It seems that Frictional Games put a lot of work into making Soma's Pathos 2 laboratories a very believable place, and one that kind of gets under your skin. I mean, when even the plot itself has you on the defensive, constantly in unfamiliar surroundings, in areas that just feel dangerous, it really does speak to the caliber of the game's world. And with every little subplot following through the same theme and everything feeling very connected, Soma manages to give a really strong sense of its message. A message that asks a lot of questions about identity, existence, and what it really means to be human.
Amy needs help.
In terms of gameplay, you're going to feel right at home here if you ever played an Amnesia game in the past, or even something like Outlast. The game feels very similar. It's a non-combat horror game in which you alternate between solving puzzles, exploring areas, avoiding monsters, and discussing philosophy with your PDA. I've got to praise the game's puzzle solving because it gets that nice little balance point right in between feeling sufficiently challenging, yet not so painfully difficult that you have to look up a walkthrough to solve it. And while Pathos 2's facilities can feel kind of samey, you're really just moving through different flavors of underwater laboratory and underwater scenery. The game does feel somewhat unique in its monster design. Unlike Amnesia, which only really had one monster variety throughout the entire game, Soma has dozens. From horrible black blind tumor monsters, to standardized killer robots, to robot Slenderman, there is a lot of horrifying creatures on offer here, and they all react and act in different, interesting ways. To deep-sea fanglyfish you ambush out of nowhere. Wait, oh shit! When these monsters find you, it's better just to run and hide than try to fight back. There's nothing you can really do to hurt them. You don't have any weapons or attacks, so you should probably just dive for cover and hope it doesn't notice you. Fortunately, a lot of these monsters can be escaped, although some of them can't. Sadly, the most interesting monster that they reveal in the game really doesn't show up more than once, and really there's not much lore around him. He kind of remains a mystery, which is good, but at the same time, he was genuinely the creepiest creature that you come across in your adventures through Pathos 2. And I'm really sad that they didn't get more mileage out of him. All in all, the monsters racket up the tension that already permeates through the entire game's world. Crescendos on that feeling of oppressive darkness as you're being crushed under literal pressure of the ocean and the figurative pressure of the situation. The one other thing I really need to comment on here that makes the game feel a lot more complete is the sound design. There aren't that many horror games that pull off sound design correctly. A lot of them are just groaning moans and creaking, spooky. But Soma feels really full because its sound design is fantastic. The monsters sound legitimately creepy. The glitching on the screen catches you off guard. The underwater ocean sequences sound great. There's just a lot of love and care that went into sound of this game. And it seems to pull a lot of tropes from other sci-fi horror videos and games. Things like Event Horizon. You get a lot of those weird feelings from that kind of stuff. It sounds fantastic. With a fantastic delivery from the two main characters, Simon and Catherine, there is a really good reason to get into Soma's main narrative. It scatters information throughout, and you can start to build a picture of the world you're in. And it is not a nice picture. It is grim, completely and utterly devoid of hope, and utterly, philosophically crushing.
Yes. It was just a pet project at first, but it got really...
My recommendation? Check it out. If you like getting spooked, it's got plenty of spooks. If you like a deep and engrossing narrative, it's got a deep and engrossing narrative. If you like philosophical questioning, then it's got some philosophical questioning. It's got a lot going for it. Soma's a fantastic idea for the genre. I'm super excited to say that it's a great game. Check it out. Good evening, I hope you've enjoyed this little video on Soma. Spooky, scary game. It's really good. I really enjoyed playing it and making this video. If you actually want to check out Soma and see a full playthrough of it, I have it spread out across 3 videos here on the Orange Hatter channel. You can check those out. I put an annotation right on the side there as usual. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope maybe you'll try out Soma for yourself, because it's a game that's worth your time. Frictional did a lot of good work on it. But thank you very much, and you, as usual, have a great one. I would not let her give me a hand job.